when I made that commitment, I was making that commitment to black people and to black people only. But you know, God will show you things, and He'll put things in your path so that you realize that the struggle is really about poor people.
All right, all right.
You know, the first time I was faced with having to help a white farmer save his farm, he took a long time talking, but he was trying to show me he was superior to me. I knew what he was doing, but he had to come to me for help. What he didn't know, while he was taking all that time trying to show me he was superior to me, was I was trying to decide just how much help I was going to give him. I was struggling with the fact that so many black people have lost their farmland, and here I was faced with having to help a white person save their land. So I didn't give him the full force of what I could do. I did enough so that when I assumed the Department of Agriculture had sent him to me, either that or the Georgia Department of Agriculture. And he needed to go back and report that I did try to help him. So I took him to a white lawyer that had attended some of the training that we had provided, because Chapter 12 bankruptcy had just been enacted for the family farmer. So I figured if I take him to one of them, that his own kind would take care of him. That's when it was revealed to me that, y'all, it's about poor versus those who have. And not so much about white. It is about white and black, but it's not, you know, it opened my eyes, because I took him to one of his own, and I put him in his hand and felt, okay, I've done my job. But during that time, we would have these injunctions against the Department of Agriculture, and so they couldn't foreclose on him. And I want you to know that the county supervisor had done something to him that I have not seen yet, that they've done to any other farmer, black or white. And what they did to him caused him to not be able to file Chapter 12 bankruptcy. So everything was going along fine. I'm thinking he's being taken care of by the white lawyer. And then they lifted the injunction against USDA in May of '87 for 2 weeks. And he was one of 13 farmers in Georgia who received the foreclosure notice. He called me. I said, well, go on and make an appointment at the lawyer. Let me know when it is, and I'll meet you there. So we met at the lawyer's office on the date they had given him. And this lawyer sat there. He had been paying this lawyer, y'all. That's what got me. He had been paying the lawyer since November, and this was May. And the lawyer sat there and looked at him and said, well, y'all getting old. Why don't you just let the farm go? I could not believe he said that. So I said to the lawyer, I told him, I can't believe you said that. I said, it's obvious to me if he cannot file a Chapter 12 bankruptcy to stop this foreclosure, you have to file an 11. And the lawyer said to me, I'll do whatever you say, whatever you think. That's the way he put it. But he's paying him. He wasn't paying me any money. You know, so he said, the lawyer said he would work on it. And then about 7 days before that land would have been sold at the courthouse steps, the farmer called me and said the lawyer wasn't doing anything. And that's when I spent time there in my office calling everybody I could think of to try to help me find a lawyer who would handle this. And finally I remembered that I had gone to see one just 40 miles away in Americus with a black farmer. But working with him made me see that it's really about those who have versus those who don't. You know, and they could be black, they could be white, they could be Hispanic. And it made me realize then that I needed to work to help poor people, those who don't have access the way others have. I want to just share something with you, and I think it helps to, you know, when I learned this, I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, back in the late 17th and 18th century, there were black indentured servants and white indentured servants. And they all would work for the 7 years and get their freedom. And they didn't see any difference in each other. Nobody worried about skin color. They married each other. You know, these were poor whites and poor blacks in the same boat. So they were slaves, but they were both slaves and both had the opportunity to work out of slavery. But then they started looking at the injustices that they faced and started then trying, you know, the people with money, you know, they started, the poor whites and poor blacks were, you know, they married each other, they lived together, they were just like we would be. And they started looking at what was happening to them and decided we need to do something about it, you know, about this. Well, the people with money, the elite, decided, hey, we need to do something here to divide them. So that's when they made black people servants for life. That's when they put laws in place forbidding them to marry each other. That's when they created the racism that we know of today. They did it to keep us divided. And it started working so well, they said, gosh, looks like we've come up on something here that could last generations. And here we are, over 400 years later, and it's still working. What we have to do is get that out of our heads. There is no difference between us. The only difference is that the folks with money want to stay in power, and whether it's health care or whatever it is, they'll do what they need to do to keep that power. You know.